Here are today's team of 9 contestants about to play for £10,000. Only one of them will go home with the prize money. The others will leave with nothing, as their teammates vote them the weakest link.
Welcome to the weakest link. Any of the 9 people in the studio here today could win up to £10,000. They don't know each other, however. If they want the prize money, they'll have to work as a team. But 8 of them will leave with nothing, as round by round we lose the player voted the weakest link. Let's meet the team.
I'm Kate, I'm 36 and I'm a solicitor from Birmingham.
I'm Sue, I'm 45, I'm a school secretary from Burnley in Lancashire.
I'm John, I'm 52 and a kitchen fitter from Stalybridge in Cheshire.
I'm Jeremy, I'm 44, I'm a parish tree warden from near Malvern in Worcestershire.
I'm Joanna, I'm 29, I'm a school bursar from Deal in Kent.
I'm Rashid, I'm 26, a petrol forecourt cashier from Chesham in Buckinghamshire.
I'm Jenny, I'm 63, I'm retired and live in Hampshire.
I'm Simon, I'm 42, I'm a self-employed salesman from Poole in Dorset.
I'm Ben, I'm 22 and I'm a film and TV graduate from York.
Now the rules. In each round the aim is to answer enough questions correctly to reach your £1,000 target within the time limit. The fastest way is to create a chain of 9 correct answers. Get your question wrong and you break the chain and you lose all the money in that chain. But if you say bank before the question is asked, the money is safe. However, you start a new chain from scratch. Remember, at the end of the round, only money that has been banked can be taken forward. In round 1, there are 3 minutes on the clock. We'll start with the person whose name is first alphabetically. That's you, Ben. Let's play the weakest link. And the first question is for £20. Start the clock. Ben, as a result of a 16th century law, what colour must all Venetian gondolas be painted?
Black.
Correct. Kate, in which English county would you find the town of Bury St Edmunds?
Suffolk.
Correct. Sue, how many seats does a tandem usually have?
2.
Correct. John, in the animal kingdom, is it the male or the female mosquito that usually requires a blood meal?
Males.
Female. Jeremy, in sport, how many track and field events make up the heptathlon?
5.
7. Joanna, in clothing, what V is the American term for a waistcoat?
Pass.
Vest. Rashid, in music, Brown Eyed Girl and Bright Side of the Road were hits for which Belfast-born singer-songwriter?
Van Morrison.
Correct. Jenny, in geography, in which country are the cities of Edmonton, Winnipeg, Thunder Bay and Calgary?
Canada.
Correct. Simon,
Bank.
what A is the scientific study of mankind?
Anthropology. Pass.
Anthropology. Ben, in athletics, who won the 100-metre gold at the 2000 Sydney Olympic Games, Dwayne Chambers or Maurice Greene?
Dwayne Chambers.
Maurice Greene. Kate, lending its name to one of his poems, in which jail was Oscar Wilde imprisoned?
Reading.
Correct. Sue, in geography, in which US state would you find the Everglades National Park?
Florida.
Correct. John, what classical instrument does astronomer Patrick Moore sometimes play on television?
Xylophone.
Correct. Jeremy,
Bank.
complete the title of the Thomas Hardy novel of 1886, The Mayor of?
Casterbridge.
Correct. Joanna, in ancient Egypt, which P were worshipped as kings and gods?
Pharaohs.
Correct. Rashid, in nature, what name is usually given to the flowers of apple and cherry trees?
Blossom.
Correct. Jenny, on which US TV cartoon series did Dick Dastardly race against Penelope Pitstop and the Anthill Mob?
Dastardly and Muttley.
The
No.
Wacky Races. Simon, in which English county would you find the town of Whitstable?
Kent.
Correct. Ben, what was the full name of the Han Solo big hairy friend in Star Wars?
Chewbacca.
Correct. Kate, how many natural satellites orbit the planet Earth?
1.
Correct. Sue, which
Right.
cricket team won the English County Championships in September 2000?
Gloucestershire.
Surrey. John, in politics, what name is given to the elected head of state of a republic?
Senator.
President. Jeremy, what 1994 animated film features a lion cub called Simba?
The Lion King.
Correct. Joanna, in the musical team Gilbert and Sullivan, which of them wrote the words?
Gilbert.
Correct. Rashid, in television, what do the initials in the name of the TV channel CNN stand for?
Cable Network News.
Cable News Network. Jenny, name George Orwell's 1945 novel which satirises revolutionary Russia in events on a farm.
1984.
Animal Farm. Simon, in maths, what is 19 multiplied by 4?
76.
Correct. Ben, King George VI became heir to the throne when who abdicated in 1936?
Edward VII.
Time's up. The correct answer was Edward VIII. And in that round, you won a disappointing £350 out of a possible £1,000. Who shouldn't have come here today? Who do you want off? Who is costing you money? One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
The only player in the team not to get a question wrong was Kate, so she's the strongest link. The weakest link statistically is John, who lost the team the most points, but so early in the game, will the players have realised this?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
John.
John.
Jenny.
Jenny.
John.
John.
Joanna.
John.
John.
Joanna, why John?
He got 2 questions wrong, which was more than I did.
It's not because he fits kitchens, is it?
No.
John, statistically, you were the weakest link, and with 6 votes, the team have voted you the weakest link. Goodbye.
I think I was definitely the weakest link on the first round. So, there were 1 or 2 others besides myself, but my name came up most. I exit. I think possibly the next person to be voted off would be Jenny. She's not necessarily weak, but she got 2 questions wrong just the same as I did. So it's anybody's game at the moment. There's 8 to go at.
Round 2. You've won £350, which is not very impressive. You could have won 1,000 by now. There are 8 of you left. We are taking 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Kate. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Kate, in the animal kingdom, is the opossum of North America a marsupial or a rodent?
Rodent.
Marsupial. Sue, in which country of the UK is the Forth Bridge?
Scotland.
Correct. Jeremy, what blasting explosive was patented in 1867 by Alfred Nobel?
Dynamite.
Correct. Joanna, who led the Romanian Communist Party from 1965 until his execution in 1989?
Marx.
Ceausescu. Rashid, proverbially a cat has how many lives?
9.
Correct. Jenny, complete the name of the country in the West Indies, Trinidad and what?
Tobago.
Correct. Simon.
Bank.
What is the name of Sir Thomas More's book of 1516 about a fictional country where everything seemed to be perfect?
Utopia.
Correct. Ben. What F is a type of laminated plastic material often used for tabletops?
Formica.
Correct. Kate, in film, Arnold Schwarzenegger starred as a barbarian in which 1982 fantasy film?
Conan the Barbarian.
Correct. Sue.
Bank.
Who is married to comedian Lenny Henry?
Dawn French.
Correct. Jeremy. In cooking, what F is a chewy biscuit made of oats, sugar, butter and golden syrup?
Flapjack.
Correct. Joanna. In pop music, who is the lead singer of the Scottish band Wet Wet Wet?
Marty Pellow.
Correct. Rashid.
Bank.
In geography, is Angola on the east or west coast of Africa?
West.
Correct. Jenny. In nature, what tea is a common herbaceous plant of the daisy family, typically with a prickly stem and leaves?
Pass.
Thistle. Simon. What substance forming part of the human tooth is the hardest substance in the human body?
Enamel.
Correct. Ben. In the life cycle of a star, which comes first, a white dwarf or a black dwarf?
A black dwarf.
White dwarf. Kate. Simon Groom, John Leslie and Leslie Judd all presented which long-running children's TV show?
Blue Peter.
Correct. Sue. Who became president of South Africa on the 10th of May 1994?
Nelson Mandela.
Correct. Jeremy.
Bank.
What T is an area in the Northern Hemisphere typified by the absence of trees?
Tundra.
Correct. Joanna. In the Christian calendar, is Ash Wednesday the first or the last day of Lent?
Last.
First. Rashid. In what 1982 film does Richard Gere star as a naval officer who falls in love with Deborah Winger?
An Officer and a Gentleman.
Correct. Jenny. In theatre, which British novelist and playwright wrote An Inspector Calls, published in 1946?
Pass.
J.B. Priestley. Simon. Which former Bucks Fizz member became a television presenter on shows including Record Breakers?
Cheryl Kennedy.
Cheryl Baker. Ben. In the New Testament, which disciple was the brother of Simon Peter?
Matthew.
Andrew. Kate. Which controversial film by Stanley Kubrick was adapted from an Anthony Burgess novel and starred Malcolm McDowell?
Clockwork Orange.
Correct. Sue. In biology, aplastic, pernicious and sickles. Time is up. I cannot complete the question. And of the £1,000 available in that round, you managed to bank only 320. Who is out of their depth? One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
The strongest link is Sue, who banked the most money for the team. The worst player is Joanna, who lost the team the most points. But will the votes follow the facts?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Joanna.
Joanna.
Jenny.
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 Ben.
Joanna.
Jenny.
Jeremy. Why Jenny?
I think I was very thankful that I didn't get the Thistle question, but there was a tremendous hesitation on that.
Ben. Why Jenny?
Well, like myself, she got a couple of questions wrong, so I had to vote for her and not me.
Right. Jenny, with 4 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I wasn't the weakest link in that round, and other people should have gone off before me, but that's the way the game goes. I was really also disappointed in myself, but fed up, I think, is a good word.
Round 3, team. By now, you could have had in the bank £2,000. You've actually got 670. You're down to 7 players. We're taking another 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Sue. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Sue, in art, what was the nationality of the surrealist painter René Magritte?
French.
Belgium. Jeremy, in which fictional hospital is the TV series Casualty set?
Holby.
Holby City. I'll accept Holby. Joanna, in science, is an alkaloid an organic or inorganic substance?
Inorganic.
Organic. Rashid, which London landmark was designed by Sir Norman Foster to depict a blade of light by night?
The Millennium Bridge.
Correct. Simon, which jazz trumpeter and composer released the album entitled Kind of Blue in 1959?
Dizzy Gillespie.
Miles Davis. Ben, in which Sussex coastal resort is there an area of streets known as the Lanes that's renowned for its antique shops?
Brighton.
Correct. Kate, what bee is a jellied dessert whose name comes from the French for white food?
Blancmange.
Correct. Sue.
Bank.
The musical Mamma Mia is based on the songs of which group?
ABBA.
Correct. Jeremy. In history, the 1939 Pact of Steel was a military alliance between Germany and which other country?
Russia.
Italy. Joanna. Kate Hannigan, Katie Mulholland and Tilly Trotter are all heroines created by which best-selling novelist?
I don't know.
Catherine Cookson. Rashid. In Britain, is it the male or female cuckoo which makes the distinctive cuckoo call?
Female.
Male. Simon. Complete the next line of the nursery rhyme Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
How I wonder what you are.
Correct. Ben. In 1911, did Roald Amundsen beat Captain Robert Scott to the North or South Pole?
North Pole.
South Pole. Kate, in politics, who became Secretary General of the United Nations in 1996?
Boutros Boutros-Ghali.
Kofi Annan. Sue, Stockholm is the capital city of which European country?
Sweden.
Correct. Jeremy, in football, name the Arsenal manager who worked in Japan before coming to England.
Ozzy Ardiles.
Arsene Wenger. Joanna, in medicine, how many types of penicillin are there? 2 or 4?
2.
4. Rashid, in transport, when were Pelican crossings introduced to Britain, 1958 or 1968?
58.
1968. Simon, in which English city would you find King's College Chapel, famous for its annual broadcast service?
Oxford.
Cambridge. Ben, in nature, Helianthus is the botanical name for which flower grown for its oil?
Daffodil.
Sunflower. Kate, in a French restaurant, what does plat du jour translate to in English?
Dish of the day.
Correct. Sue.
Bank.
In TV, in which 1960s sci-fi show would a robot warn the Robinson family of impending danger?
Lost in Space.
Correct. Jeremy,
Bank.
in medicine, what A is the name given to a substance that counteracts a poison?
Antibody.
Time is up. Correct answer is antidote. And in that round, you banked an embarrassing, disgracefully low £90. Who is the fly in the ointment? Or rather, who's the dunce among the dead wood? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
For the second time, Sue is the strongest link, banking the most money for the team. Joanna is the weakest link again, getting all of her questions wrong. So can she survive another vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Joanna.
Joanna.
Ben.
Simon.
Jeremy.
Joanna.
Joanna.
Simon. Why Joanna?
It's probably a combination of the last couple of rounds, Anne. I just feel as though, although I had a poor round myself last time, that Joanna was worse than I was.
Right. Joanna, statistically, you were the worst. And with 4 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I'm disappointed that I've been voted off, but if I could have voted for myself, I would have done. I had a really bad round. I think maybe Ben will get voted off because he's the youngest player, and the youngest players don't seem to know as much as the older ones.
Round 4, the £760 in the bank out of potential prize money so far of £3,000. There are 6 of you left. We are taking another 10 seconds off the clock. You now have only 2.5 minutes. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Sue. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Sue, what nationality was the film and theatre actress Mae West?
American.
Correct. Jeremy, which trio had a massive hit with a cover of Bob Dylan's Blowin' in the Wind in 1963?
Peter, Paul and Mary.
Correct. Rashid, which football team got within 2 wins of Reading's record of 13 wins from the start of a Football League season in 2000? Fulham or Chelsea?
Fulham.
Correct. Simon, in science, a Stevenson screen is used for measuring changes in what?
Temperature.
Weather, I'll accept temperature.
Bank.
Ben, in 1990, which South African president committed himself to the abolition of the apartheid policy?
F.W. de Klerk.
Correct. Kate, in humans, what A is a condition where a person's normal body pigment has not developed?
Albino.
Correct. Sue, complete the name of this well-known Italian fashion duo, Dolce and...
Gabbana.
Correct. Jeremy, in
Bank.
literature, Charles Lutwidge Dodgson is better known as which Cheshire-born author?
Lewis Carroll.
Correct. Rashid, helium, neon and argon are all what kind of gases?
Noble gases.
Correct. Simon,
Bank.
in the Iliad, who is the god of the dead that Heracles shoots in the shoulder with an arrow?
Pass.
Hades. Ben, in music, was British singer Lisa Stansfield born in Rochdale or Rotherham?
Rochdale.
Correct. Kate, in food, what type of orange is the Seville, sweet or bitter?
Bitter.
Correct. Sue, the song Bachelor Boy comes from which Cliff Richard film?
Summer Holiday.
Correct. Jeremy,
Bank.
in history, which king was the father of Queen Elizabeth II?
George VI.
No, I have to accept your first answer. Rashid, in which year did Margaret Thatcher become the leader of the Conservative Party?
1975.
Correct. Simon,
Bank.
how many gold medals does Australian swimmer Ian Thorpe win at the Sydney 2000 Olympics?
5.
3. Ben, which country is larger in terms of area and population, France or Spain?
France.
Correct. Kate, in snooker, if you potted the following balls in the correct order, how many points would you score? 2 reds and 2 blacks.
16.
Correct, Sue. In music, which note comes before do on the do-re-mi scale?
So.
T. Jeremy, in language, what A is the term for the complete denial of the existence of God or gods?
Atheism.
Correct, Rashid. In
Bank.
which state was President J.F. Kennedy assassinated?
Texas.
Correct, Simon.
Bank.
Which 1973 Elton John pop song about Marilyn Monroe was rewritten in 1997 for the funeral of Diana, Princess of Wales?
Candle in the Wind.
Correct,
Bank.
Ben. In the management of aircraft arrivals and departures. Time's up. I cannot complete the question, and in that round you did slightly better, team. You managed to bank £530. But who actually tripped up and has now fallen on their face too often? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
The strongest link in this round is Rashid, with the most correct answers. Simon is the worst player statistically, but will the team have noticed?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Simon.
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 Sue.
Sue.
Rashid.
Kate. Why Simon?
Difficult question about the underworld, but he got it wrong.
Right.
Sue. Why Simon?
You got a difficult question wrong.
Would it have been better if he got an easy question wrong?
No.
Simon! Statistically, you were the worst player. And with 3 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I felt as though there was a female mafia conspiracy going on there. I think with Kate and Sue, you could see that they're getting a very cliquey over there. And so I wasn't too surprised that they both voted for me. And sort of doing a quick calculation, I thought, well, it's going to depend really on Jeremy's vote. And once I saw he pulled my name up, I knew that that was it. My number was up. And I thought, oh, well, never mind. That's the end of that.
Round 5, team. Your total so far is £1,290. If you'd hit your targets, it would be 4,000. 5 of you left, another 10 seconds coming off the time. We start with the strongest link from the last round, that's Rashid. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Rashid, the Greek national flag consists of how many colours?
2.
Correct. Ben. In literature, John Bunyan is best known for his religious work, The Pilgrim's what?
Pass.
Progress. Kate, on the internet or in business, for what do the letters FYI stand on a communication?
For your information.
Correct. Sue, in the TV series, who was Private Detective Randall's deceased partner, played by Kenneth Cope and later Vic Reeves?
Hopkirk.
Correct. Jeremy, in the animal
Bank.
kingdom, are Pinzgauer and Percheron European breeds of horse or cow?
A horse.
Correct. Rashid, which African country lies the furthest east?
Kenya.
Somalia. Ben, in botany, the bluebell is a name commonly used in England and Wales to refer to the bulbous perennials belonging to which family of flowers?
Pass.
Lily. Kate, which 1979 science fiction film was advertised by the slogan, "In space, no one can hear you scream"?
Alien.
Correct. Sue, in what sport do you have slam dunks and layups?
Basketball.
Correct. Jeremy.
Bank.
What S is a type of poem favoured by Shakespeare, Milton and Wordsworth, consisting of 14 lines?
Sonnet.
Correct. Rashid, which of Puccini's operas is set in Japan?
Adam Butterfly.
Correct. Ben, in snooker, what is the total number of balls on the table at the start of a game?
22.
Correct. Kate, in government, for what do the letters DSS stand?
Department of Social Security.
Correct. Sue.
Bank.
Look at Me, I'm Sandra Dee is a song from which stage and screen musical?
Greece.
Correct. Jeremy, in nature, 2 types of tree dominate the European deciduous forest, beech and which other?
Oak.
Correct. Rashid, in economics, for what do the letters IMF stand?
International Monetary Fund.
Correct. Ben, in the television series, did Tyne Daly play Cagney or Lacey?
Cagney.
Lacey. Kate, in architecture, what A is the name given to a recess in the wall of a room?
Pass.
Alcove. Sue. Which noted Spanish poet and playwright was shot without trial in the Spanish Civil War in 1936?
Pass.
Lorca. Jeremy. In literature, who wrote the novel A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, James Joyce or Henry James?
Henry Joyce.
James Joyce. Rashid. The musical Oliver is based on a novel by which author?
Charles Dickens.
That is the correct answer. And in that round, you managed to bank just £350. Who is no longer firing on all cylinders? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
With the most correct answers, Rashid is the strongest link once again. With the most wrong answers, Ben is the weakest link statistically. But will his teammates vote him off?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Ben.
Jeremy.
Ben.
Ben.
Jeremy.
Kate, why Ben?
I think you got a couple of questions wrong in that round.
Rashid, why Ben?
I think that wasn't one of his best rounds at the time. I think he got a few wrong.
Right. So, Ben, statistically you were the worst player, and with 3 votes you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Well, I was very disappointed being voted off in that round. The one before that, I felt I did very well, got my questions right, banked quite a bit of money. But in that round, there were some awkward questions. I think I've had a lot of questions about the scientific name of plants and flowers, and that's just not my best subject.
Round 6, you've won £1,640 out of a possible 5,000. 4 of you left. We are cutting another 10 seconds from your time. We start with the strongest link from the last round, that's Rashid. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Rashid, which extinct relative of the elephant lived in every continent except Australia and South America?
Woolly Mammoth.
Correct. Kate, in pop music, what was the name of the first album by Oasis?
Pass.
Definitely maybe. Sue, in humans, what is the opposite of the medical condition of acidosis?
Toxidosis.
Alkalosis. Jeremy, in a 1999 poll carried out by the British Association of Toy Retailers, what small toy was voted the craze of the century?
The yo-yo.
Correct. Rashid, from which country did Albania win independence in 1912?
Romania.
Turkey. Kate, in what year was the British voting age reduced to 18, 1967 or 1970?
67.
1970. Sue, which American jazz trumpeter and singer was known by the nickname Satchmo?
Louis Armstrong.
Correct. Jeremy, which S is a 3-leaf plant said to have been used by St Patrick to represent the Holy Trinity?
Shamrock.
Correct. Rashid, in children's stories, what overweight schoolboy attended Greyfriars School?
Billy Bunter.
Correct. Kate, in the Shakespeare play Romeo and Juliet, was Juliet's surname Montague or Capulet?
Capulet.
Correct. Sue, which Italian composer wrote operas called Tosca and Turandot?
Verdi.
Puccini. Jeremy, name the female athlete from South Africa who was given British citizenship in order to compete in the 1984 Olympic Games.
Zola Budd.
Correct. Rashid, is the name Lalique associated with glass or ceramics?
Glass.
Correct. Kate, what is the name of the Central Banking Authority of the USA?
Fort Knox.
The Federal Reserve System. Sue, Charles I's rejection of Parliament's 19 propositions led to the beginning of which war?
The Civil War.
Correct. Jeremy, in the Bible, which D was Solomon's father?
Daniel.
David. Rashid, which was the first Star Trek film to feature Captain Picard?
Generations.
Correct. Kate, in females, labour pains are caused by the contractions of which internal organ? Time's up. The correct answer is uterus. And in that round, what a disgrace. You put in your kitty an embarrassingly low £50. Who really is now for the high jump? Who has lost the plot? One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
For the third time, Rashid is the strongest link. The weakest link is Kate, who got most of her questions wrong and lost the team the most points. But will the votes follow the facts?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Kate.
Kate.
We have a tie. Kate and Jeremy, 2 votes each. Jeremy, why Kate?
I think, well, Kate's been very good up till now, but I felt at the last time, I think there were several wrong questions.
Yes. Kate, how was that round for you?
Absolutely awful.
Why Jeremy?
Well, I think he's got a couple wrong all the way through. He's not been doing terribly well, and I thought in that round he was quite poor as well.
Right. Well, when the vote is tied, the strongest link can cast the deciding vote. And interestingly, Rashid, you were the strongest link in that last round. So who would you like to get rid of, Rashid?
I'm sorry, Kate. Gotta go.
Kate, Rashid wants you off. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I'm really rather disappointed. It's the first time my name has gone onto any of the boards. I feel that the boys are ganging up on the girls, rather.
Round 7, you have £1,690 of the possible £6,000 you could have won by now. 3 of you left, another 10 seconds off the clock. We start with the strongest link from the last round, that's Rashid. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Rashid, in which country is the musical Fiddler on the Roof set?
Russia.
Correct. Sue, in literature, name the 1961 Muriel Spark novel about an Edinburgh schoolmistress and her group of favoured pupils.
The Prime of Jean Brodie.
The Prime of Miss Jean Brodie, I'll accept. Jeremy, divide the number of degrees in a circle by the number of sides of a square.
45.
90. Rashid, which noted 18th century figure said, when a man is tired of London, he is tired of life?
Samuel Johnson.
Correct. Sue, which 1980s British TV sitcom was set at Maplin's holiday camp?
Heidi High.
Correct. Jeremy.
Bang.
In America, Paul Revere's house is a feature of which Massachusetts city?
Boston.
Correct. Rashid, what G is an English artist born in 1727 who is famous for his landscapes and portraits?
Gainsborough.
Correct. Sue, in medicine, is an aneurysm a weak spot in a vein or an artery?
In an artery.
Correct. Jeremy, in which
Bang.
decade did the musical Cats open in London?
1970s.
1980s. Rashid, Britain's first canal, the Bridgewater, was built to transport which fuel?
Pass.
Coal. Sue, are puffins a type of penguin or a type of auk?
Auk.
Correct. Jeremy, which European city is home to Olsen's World Clock?
Copenhagen.
Correct. Rashid, in theatre, which Peter was born in 1921 and starred in his own play of 1956, Romanov and Juliet?
Don't know. Pass.
Ustinov. Sue, Ronan Keating became famous as the lead singer for which pop group?
Boyzone.
Correct. Jeremy, in politics, whose election as US President in 1860 triggered the protests of the southern states before the American Civil War?
Abraham Lincoln.
Correct.
Bang.
Rashid, in mythology, was Achilles a Greek or Roman hero?
Greek.
Correct. Sue, what F is used to classify mushrooms, yeasts and moles?
Fungi.
Correct. Jeremy, what is the more unusual name for the air cushion machine invented by Christopher Cockrell? Time's up. Another spectacularly disappointing round. £200 you put in the kitty. The question is, who is not up to the task before you? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Sue was the strongest link in that round and was the only player who got all of her questions correct. Although Jeremy was the weakest link, he banked £150 for the team. But will that save him in this crucial vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Rashid.
Sue.
Jeremy.
Well, team, we have a 3-way tie. Jeremy, why Sue?
It was getting a little bit personal at this stage because Sue has voted for me twice or three times and Rashid actually rescued me the last time round.
Right. Sue, you've quite often chosen Jeremy, so why Rashid this time?
I just thought Rashid didn't do very well in the last round.
Right.
And I didn't think Jeremy would vote for me.
Right. Well, when the vote is tied, the strongest link has to cast the deciding vote. Sue, as the strongest link, would you rather get rid of Rashid or Jeremy? And of course, you're at liberty to change your mind.
Quite right, Anne, and I think it's going to have to be Jeremy.
Why is that, Sue?
He said it isn't personal, but I think it's quite got that way now.
Right. So, what a pity, Jeremy. You got personal. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I felt with that last round I broke several rules. I didn't bank at the last minute when I should have done. And for the first time I voted for somebody for a personal reason rather than because they were the weakest link. I think the walk of shame, it's one thing being eaten alive, but it's quite a different thing to be spat out after being well chewed.
Round 8, you could have won £7,000 by now. You actually have in your kitty £1,890. Sue and Rashid, just the two of you left, and this time you have only 90 seconds. But whatever you win in this round will be trebled and added to your total to make up your final prize money. So £3,000 is at stake in this round. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round, that's Sue. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Sue, which woman was Prime Minister of Israel between 1969 and 1974?
Pass.
Golda Meir. Rashid, in humans, what name is given to the cord that connects an unborn infant to the placenta?
Umbilical cord.
Correct, Sue. In food, ascorbic acid is also known as which vitamin?
Vitamin C.
Correct, Rashid. In what sport do you find the teams London Wasps and the Sale Sharks?
Rugby.
Rugby union, I'll accept rugby. Sue.
Bank.
What was the name of the spacecraft that famously penetrated the head of Halley's Comet in 1986?
Apollo 11.
Giotto. Rashid, in which film does Julia Roberts' character fake her own death to escape domestic violence?
Don't know, pass.
Sleeping with the Enemy. Sue, in the animal kingdom, to which family of reptiles do caimans and gharials belong?
Reptiles.
Crocodile. Rashid, which long-running TV show has been presented by Damon Andrews and Michael Aspel?
This Is Your Life.
Correct, Sue.
Bank.
In history, what was the first widespread use of trench warfare during World War I or the American Civil War?
World War I.
American Civil War. Rashid, in mythology, Osiris was the ruler of the underworld for which ancient civilization?
Egyptians.
Correct, Sue. In 1927, the FA Cup was won by a non-English club for the first time. Who were the winners?
Blackpool.
Cardiff City. Rashid, which Hollywood child star of the 90s Home Alone films is godfather to Michael Jackson's? Correct, Sue.
Bank.
In literature, which book? Time's up, and you certainly didn't make it to £1,000. Having got rid of 7 weaker links, you managed to bank only £140 in that round. Never mind, we'll treble it and add it to the winnings from the previous rounds. That means prize money today of £2,310. But only one of you can take that money away, so now you will be playing against each other head to head. I'll ask alternate questions, best of 5. Whoever answers the most correctly wins. It's as simple as that. If there's a tie after 5, we'll go for sudden death until we have a winner. So Sue and Rashid for £2,310. Let's play the weakest link. Rashid, as the strongest link in the last round, you have the choice of who goes first.
I'll go first.
Rashid, in which 1981 war film does Michael Caine captain a football team containing Pele and Bobby Moore?
Escape to Victory.
That is the correct answer. Sue, what is now a term for skilled cooks, but originally referred to members of the highest order of chivalry under the Bourbon kings because of the blue sashes they wore?
Chefs.
Correct answer is cordon bleu. Rashid, in the cartoon Top Cat, what was the name of the policeman?
Officer Dibble.
That is the correct answer. Sue, in literature, according to the novel by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, how many years of solitude were there?
100.
That is the correct answer. Rashid, how many stars are there on the flag of the People's Republic of China?
3.
The correct answer is 5. Sue, which prison off the coast of French Guiana held Alfred Dreyfus between 1894 and 1899?
Is it Devil's Island?
That is the correct answer. Rashid, in language, the word bus comes from which Latin word meaning for everyone?
Omnibus.
That is the correct answer. Sue, which Scottish city is famed for jute, jam, and journalism?
Glasgow.
The correct answer is Dundee. Rashid, for £2,310. In pop music, Baz Luhrmann produced a song saying, "Everybody's free to wear what?"
Jeans.
The correct answer is sunscreen. Sue, to remain in the game, you must answer this question correctly. In fashion, who designed the famous safety pin dress worn by Elizabeth Hurley?
Versace.
That is the correct answer. After 5 questions, we have a tie, so we now go into a sudden death situations. The questions will continue in pairs. Rashid, if you get your question right, then Sue will have to answer hers correctly, or she will lose. And Rashid, if you get your question wrong, then Sue will have to answer hers correctly to win. So, Rashid and Sue, let's play sudden death. Rashid, in the Football League, what is the minimum number of players a team must have in order for a game to go ahead?
$11.
The correct answer is 7. Sue, if you answer this question correctly, you have won. So Sue, for £2,310. In which African country did Idi Amin succeed Milton Obote as president between 1971 and 1979?
Uganda.
That is the correct answer. That means, Sue, you are today's strongest link and you go away with £2,310. Rashid, you leave with nothing. Join us again for the weakest link.
Goodbye.
I feel absolutely gutted. I did take a risk. I thought answering the first question would put the pressure on Sue, and in the end it sort of backfired on me.
I think everybody deserved to win. They were all really, really good contestants. As it got nearer the end, I sort of thought that I could be in with a chance. And at the end, I was really pleased.